There we go.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Everyday Riches Show. I am one of your hosts, Barbara Ellison, transformational life trainer. But you know what? One of the things is that so many people say, well, what does a transformational life trainer do? And you know, one of the, to me, I work with baby boomers to help them know who they are within what they do so that when they retire, they know what they want to do when they retire. Because so often, so many people get caught up in their job title or their job description and then have no idea of who they are outside of that. And it is a huge issue. So that's kind of what I do. So now, Jason, introduce yourself and what you do.
I'm Jason Tracey. I am a coach that works with sales, empowering people in their sales process, empowering people in their imposter syndrome, getting them out of their imposter syndrome. And you know what? I do podcasts. I'm a podcast host, so we're here every week, here every Tuesday, and then have the other podcasts as well, and just enjoy sharing the everyday riches and finding guests that we have incredible stories and strategies that they've learned along the way, so we could share those everyday riches with our listeners.
Right. And today we've had a little bit of a snafu, so we are going live, and we're not our guests. We think the time gremlins got them. The time zone gremlins. We know they're all out there, especially.
And maybe he'll join us in the
he might join us in the middle, and we'll love to have him. But anyways, one of the things that we thought we would talk about today is National Be Heard Day. So what does that mean? Because one of our basic human needs is to be heard. Well, now they've set apart a day, but this is for small businesses. And this is where we thought it was just such an appropriate day to talk about what we do. Because you know what? If people don't know what you do, how can they support you?
Absolutely.
How can they take advantage of your field of expertise? And there are people out there that are desperate for an answer. They're looking for ways to, like in my case, to be healthier, to be happier, to, make the rest of their life the best of their life. But right now, across the U.S. and the world, but in the U.S., they say there's like 145 million employees of small business.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But how do you make yourself stand out? That's part of the thing that Jason and I like to talk about, which is why we bring guests on this show. We want to help people to stand out in their field. It's just like, oh, wow. 47% of the workforce work for a small business.
Yeah. No, I'm so passionate about small business, and especially from the coaching consulting range, there's so many coaches and consultants that focus on that corporate America level. And you're right, there's so many hundred. You say 120 million employees?
145 million small businesses.
145 million small businesses, and you think of all the employees across that. It's the lifeblood of America, and to me, it's the American dream. People come here with the thought that they can, from nothing, make it. Right. And so that's the dream that we have in America. It's the dream that we've had for forever. Right. And so, like supporting those people, helping those people, sharing their stories is incredible.
Right. See, the thing is that small businesses, guess who they support? They support our schools. They can be mentors in the classroom. They can be, they can be coaches. They can be sports. They can be whatever. But they need to be heard, and they need to help to get themselves out there. So, and the thing is, though, like if you have a brick and mortar, oh yeah, you have foot traffic. You have a brick and mortar, and you can advertise, and you're in your local community. But what about those people that don't have a brick and mortar?
Yeah. Like, how do people find them?
My computer is my brick and mortar.
Absolutely. And we talked about this. You were posting posts on LinkedIn, and I shared that video with you of, hey, when people are commenting, they're walking into your brick and mortar. They're walking
Yeah.
into your store. And so it's important, how do you stand out? You do the things that other people don't do. And so many people will put a post out there, for example, and not talk to the people that are coming into the brick and mortar. And if you think about that, think about how ridiculous that is. If you work in a restaurant, and if somebody came in and nobody talked to them when they walked in,
Right.
they would leave and they'd be upset and they'd go out and
Right.
tell all their friends that nobody talked to them. Now you think about that, it's a little bit different when somebody comments on your post, but if you put a post out there and it draws engagement, people are coming in and saying whatever, that's interesting, or
Right.
they're drawn into it for one reason or another, and you're not talking to them, they're probably not going to walk into your store again.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And it can be that easy. And I
Yeah.
have to admit that I have been a little bit less than stellar in going in commenting and stuff. But now I've really, since I've learned so much from you.
Yeah.
That was one of the things, is that, oh, right, Barbara, it's changing your perspective.
Yes. Yeah.
Changing that little perspective is like, oh, that's right. They are walking into, it would be the same as me walking into this, into the Dollar General. If nobody walks in the door of your store, you can't sell products.
Yes. Yes.
And if people
and
don't know what products you sell, this is
yes,
why we come on and every once in a while share with people what we do. Because you might be a baby boomer that right now is facing retirement and it is scaring the living daylights out of you. You're excited because you're going to be giving up the 9 to 5 of the suit and tie.
we got our guest in.
Oh,
sorry. It just dung in. Ding ding. So Robert Wilson is entering the waiting room.
beans.
We're about to bring him in. How do you know Robert?
He's in another group.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So now how do we?
Here he is. The doorbell. It's like Mr. Rogers that comes in, little doorbell rings, Robert, what is up, man? Is it connected yet? Probably not. He'll be here in a minute. There he goes.
There he is.
Oh, that's beautiful too.
I sent it out this morning, 10 a.m. Central Time.
Yeah.
And my brain went to Central Time, my time. I mean,
Yeah.
10, and I'm good at that.
Yeah. It's all the time zones get so confusing.
And the thing is I had it in my head 9 a.m. yesterday, but today I went to 10 a.m.
Right, which is so that's what we figured. So we said, well, that's what I said. Time zones, gremlins. Oh, and now
I'm good at it.
Yeah, and now we're coming up to daylight savings, where it all changes, and then in 2 weeks, Australia changes.
Yeah. Well, see, Arizona don't change, so we got to go from Mountain Time to Pacific Time.
Yeah.
And I can screw that up better than anybody.
Okay, so let's start with this. Why don't they just put it on daylight savings time and stay that for the rest of the world?
Well, they can't mess with people that way.
It just makes me crazy. But anyways, Robert, how are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Cool beans. I love your background, by the way.
Me too. It's beautiful.
That's the Teton Mountains in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Wow.
That's Jackson Lake, and that's the Tetons.
Wow.
Oh, if you've never been to the Tetons, you got to go.
That's amazing.
I've driven through. That's it.
Well, it's gotten really commercialized, but when in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, it was beautiful. It wasn't all commercialized. Now it's commercialized.
Wow. That's phenomenal.
That is gorgeous. But anyways, Robert, tell us about you. I love your cowboy wisdom.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what's this cowboy wisdom? I'm so intrigued.
Actually, I am a cowboy. I grew up on a cattle farm operation, but I left in 77, and I'm not going to pay for an animal to eat while I'm working. And hay, I figured it up. I'm a multimillionaire for the hay I put up when I was on the farm to what they charge for hay today. I'm a multimillionaire because it's expensive now. Well, cowboy wisdom it's kind of it's got country roots in it. But what I'd expanded into is hypnoacuity rather than hypnotherapy, because as soon as you say therapy, the subconscious mind becomes alive and looking for something that's wrong. And I took mind and mindset out of my life, because that way it don't go to the frozen in time representation. Right. And I got a neuro-liberating lingo I use. It's expand, energize, enterprise, experience, appreciation. Liberation is the biggest thing. It's pure liberation. And you can actually color a fresh scenario in the subconscious landscape if you don't use words you've used all the time. And even in business, if people step back and ask these 4 questions, why is this occurring for me today to expand? And then where am I apprehensive about this situation? Where's the wisdom? Why will my imagination, inspiration, innovation, and intuition lead me out of here? There's no dead ends. You want to get rid of looking for answers and solutions into looking for pathways of enlightenment, and then you never get stuck in the muck of yesterday's suck.
That is so cool. I love the first of all, I love how it rhymes.
And you know, that's the way I expanded my life. If you can start putting little rhymes in your life and speak from the inspirations within you, politically incorrect inspiration dissolves politically correct perfection programming.
So say that again.
Politically incorrect inspiration dissolves politically correct perfection programming, allows you to unscramble your life to amble onto your voyage of whatever.
That is absolutely the truth. We have to change our wording. That's one of the things that you said when you said you've taken mindset out of your vocabulary.
Yeah.
I call it mind flow.
Well, mind flow, I took the word mind totally out. Because as soon as you say mind, that mind starts looking for something.
Right.
And so if I use the scenery and the communication, I've never latched on to yesterday. I'm in the now. And see, that's the thing. We try to live in the past. You know, the past. Well, the past is right here. Right. Past, present, future. Ago. Yeah. See, and the thing about we go to the past, we try to heal the past, we never get out of the past. But if you stop healing the past and liberate the now, you naturally open the wisdom to expand out. And even in business and everything, every life event is an awakening. Earthquaking yesterday's memories.
Yeah.
But if you look at life as an awakening, you quit getting caught up in everything you think and know. And that's 2 other words I took: think, know, learn, and hear out of my life. I listen for the clarity of my inspirations to express my dreams to the world. And if I'm expressing my dreams into your life, we're both expanding. That one takes a little bit of getting used to.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we have been taught to live in yesterday.
True.
And
because your brain doesn't know anything else but what you've already experienced.
Yeah, the subconscious mind, it's like hand-me-down clothes in business and in person, in all phases. It goes all the way back to the beginning of time. And if you really get and just observe the world from up above and you listen to life, you're going to see a lot of the business traits today go all the way back to the beginning of time. And our life goes back to the beginning of time. That's why history never changes, is because we live in the same subconscious mind representations and descriptions, images, and words. All life is images and words. It's a
and your perception of those words and how you interpret the words
and perceive them. Yes.
And perceive them.
And see, like you take, instead of using the word change, you use the word expand, X-P-A-N-D. There's pain in change. Expand is grand to understand my life moving forward.
I love that. Yeah.
And it's this, I call it pure liberation with a neuro liberating lingo. You get fresh words, you get a fresh outlook on life. It's called liminal. You rise above everything that's going on because, you know, we're the most educated we've ever been, but yet we're the most corrupt we've ever been, or equally as corrupt.
It's really cool that like you're talking about this, because before you came on, we were talking about how there's, 145 million small businesses out there, and how do you stand out? How do you stand out amongst the crowd? And we were talking about shifting your language a lot, shifting your, and so, you're coming on and just talking different than the average. One of my biggest pet peeves is like just that average. You ask somebody how they're doing and people are like, not too bad, not too bad. Like that's a common average response. And most people say that.
That's the thing. This is my new favorite saying. You got to let go of the bitchations of the situations. And every situation is awakening.
Right.
Because chaos, adversity and all that stuff, that's just showing you where you're at. But if you if you awaken to the situation, you start listening for the wisdom inside the situation, and not the knowledge, the wisdom. See, knowledge is the books, wisdom is the experience.
Right.
And it's like a business. This is a business. The knowledge is in the management, the wisdom's in the people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. A lot of times we search for that in the management. It's always in the people.
Yeah. I interviewed several people that fixed companies that were going upside down, and management get mad because she just bypass them and go to the workers. And she did. But the thing is, when you open up to understand, people are wisdom in motion. Everybody knows one nugget of wisdom I have that will expand me. So if I can listen to 8.8 billion people, that's 8.8 billion of nuggets of wisdom. I never can be in the same place twice.
Yeah.
And and it's so funny that we're talking about this today, because this is National Be Heard Day for small businesses.
Yeah.
Get your name out there. And what do you stand for? And if you need to expand what you stand for, then do that.
And also show people that you have something that's going to give them a better life.
Right.
It's show people, not tell people, but show people. And that's something the world has to expand out of, is being told what to do, telling people what to do, and hearing I want you to. When you stop telling people what to do, stop being told what to do, you open up to you open up to your sovereign awareness, not self-awareness, sovereign. Say self out loud, then say sovereign and see what you feel.
Right. That's like I was watching a little clip from Jason the other day where he was talking about, you were talking to the automotive guy.
Oh, yeah.
Where he said, we bring in that car, but that car then becomes ours. Yeah. And we not only work on just the car, what are the expectations that person wants? What do they use the car for? Those kinds of things. And I went, wow, it just really struck me that, that's how we need to do business, because we do business with people. We don't do business with things.
That's ironic you said that, because this morning, you can be the Warren Buffett's, the most richest businessman in the world, but how did you get the money? From the people. And that's where businesses forgot. People create cash, and that's the way it goes. And people are the asset of the world, the assets of the world. But we still stay in that mentality of owning people. We really do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been so funny because so many things over this last week have all been leading me in this direction, that it's the people. As one of the books that I've read is that love what you do in the service of people who love what you do.
Mm.
And the first time I heard that, I went, what? And once I read it a couple of times, read the title, it was like, oh, exactly. Because the people who love what you do and how you help them to feel, they're going to follow you to the ends of the earth.
Yeah. Mm. And see, I'm going to be honest with you. I stepped away from personal growth, self-help, and self-improvement into sovereign expansion because self-help, personal, they never use the word liberating. Mm. And if you start using liberation in your life, you'll start feeling a different foresight. And I really stay away from the PhD written books because I had to read them in hypnotherapy school, and they never allowed a person to get away from the trauma and drama and their challenges.
Right.
The only challenges you have is not having the sovereign awareness of your own abilities, your sovereign wherewithal, ability, agility, and affluence.
Right.
It's all in here.
And I think the words that so often that, in fact, we were just talking about a little bit ago, the 4 words that are just such an awful part of the language is, and it translates into every language, is that I'll be happy when. Mm-hmm. And well, I'll be happy when this happens, or I'll be happy when that happens, or I'll be happy when I can do that. I can do this. You have that now. You can be happy now in this instant.
Well, you just hit on the key to life. You got to understand, you got to take the society's definitions and the institutionalized education definitions out of your life.
Yeah.
And I'm successful right now. I appreciate my situation because that situation is going to open up my forward-looking, enterprising wizardry to set me free. And if you try to think and know your way, you're going to stay in yesterday. It's your enterprising energy. And something that everybody says, transform. Well, transform to me means step down, because I'm a union electrician. Comes in 500,000 volts down to 13,000 volts all the way down. But when we turn the system on, we energize it. So when you energize your whys, open in your emotional eyes, you see the world as an enterprising mojo of let's go.
I'm impressed. My memory sucks at memorizing stuff like this. So I love how you roll this out.
I won't remember what I said here. I really won't. But it's all natural for me.
Yeah. I can see you have it down really natural in what you've done, like the mnemonic, the rhymes, and putting that together. I love it.
And that's the way I only show people the way I expanded my life. And if it's for you, that's fine. If it's not, that's fine. Right. But it's about feeling the pure liberation flow through your veins of fame. Because you're the mega star of your life. So you might as well enjoy it and appreciate it. And that's the thing. Instead of acceptance, appreciate everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And start, like for me, start your day with gratitude. And just for where you are right at this moment, because you never know what the day is going to bring in the next second. That's one of the things we talked about before too, is that in that next second, you can get a nudge. Oh, I should do this. And that one little nudge can take you in a totally different paradigm to just make all the difference in the world.
Yeah. And something else that I took the word help out of my life. I never, because I'm very conscious of the words I put out, because I may think I'm telling the world something, but I'm really expressing one of my limitations. Mm-hmm. And see, that's the thing I'm really, really conscious about, is the words I put out of me, because, like people write a book, they tell the world everything that's wrong with it and how they can help. Yeah. That's their viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs being put in right in front of them. That's their limitations.
Yeah.
And see, that's why I unpunctuated my books. I haven't punctuated personal growth. I haven't punctuated my sovereign expansion since 2011. When you read a punctuated book by somebody in self-help, personal growth, and self-improvement, or even from a psychologist or a PhD, you subconsciously look for what they want you to know. Because that punctuation is an embedded representation inside your subconscious.
Yeah.
I give a lady one of my unpunctuated books, and she said, when am I going to know when to breathe? I said, if I have to tell you when to breathe, you're in a lot of trouble. And you'd be surprised how many people, but I've given it to people. Now they understand what it does, because I don't write it with any not words. And if it's talking about the past, it's always discharge, release, let go, dissolve. It's trend setting, troublemaker. And you start using like rebellious, troublemaker and stuff in your daily language, in your writings, subconscious mind expands into it. And
Right.
then you get that new scenario. Then when you start hearing what you heard listened to before, it goes, no. That's where mine is right now. But I started this in 2011, so that makes I'm starting to understand it more. But I do understand the unpunctuation does. You got to have punctuation in business, but in personal growth, I never want to put my opinions, viewpoints, or beliefs in your life. Them are for you. And that's a thing we don't talk about enough in personal growth, is your beliefs, viewpoints, opinions, your childhood, your parents, all got to be dealt with, just like the emotions, feelings, and the thinking and knowing. And man, if you stop using think and know in your daily life, and you just take the word learn out of your life and use comprehend, you'd be surprised what them little things do.
So interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, to change learn from comprehend, because that's true. Because comprehend is more of understanding.
It's more of an individual.
Learning, and right, as opposed to learning.
Yeah. If you're comprehending, you're never defending. What's your viewpoints?
Right. Because we can only, one of the things I was listening to a gal the other day, her name was Shelley, and I don't remember her last name, but she was talking about is that at any given moment, our perception is only us, is what we are aware of. And we might be having this great awareness, but the people around us aren't. So they're not seeing what we see. And that's where the disconnect can come from.
That's pure wisdom, what you just said. Life is an individuality,
Right.
an individual voyage. And what I think doesn't matter to anybody else. And if people are doing what other people think, they're not experiencing their life.
Right.
And so, I pay attention to this. Everybody follows like Tony Robbins, they're following. One thing, if you follow and do what the other person did and imitate them, you miss out on your unique talents.
Absolutely.
You never discover yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people just imitate. And they're not, one, they often don't find that success because they're imitating. It's so hard to be successful being yourself, let alone trying to be somebody else. You don't know how Tony Robbins thinks, respond, like all that stuff. That's just so hard to do.
Right.
And that's very, very wise of what you just said there, Jason. When you follow, you never step out of their turdocracy. And that's a thing you really have to open up to. And something that took me 66 years to learn, and that was listening. You listen for the clarity of the wisdom of the situation to comprehend how you expand. But you're listening in imagination, and think and know and learn and hear can never be going on at the same time. You either listen and imagine, or you think, know, learn, and hear. But you can't do both at the same time. Because your mind's busy. Listening, you're quiet. In silence, the savvy internal lure energizes the now, celebrating every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, just, you have to just sit in silence. Like, because that's when you'll hear and so often for myself, I would sit in silence and sit in silence, sit in silence. Okay, so what's happening here? And then you get impatient that, well, why aren't I hearing anything? And then we start to beat ourselves up that why aren't we hearing it? We're not waiting long enough. Wait in the silence.
In the silence is splendor.
Silence.
Yes.
And
the thing, in everything I did in the last 4 years, I've expanded more than I did in the first 20 years of my expansion. Yes. And a lot of it is expand over change, appreciate over forgiveness. Because if you appreciate it, and that's something else I always heard, it's two things. Stop writing forgiveness letters or trying to forgive somebody. Write a liminal hymn, which is above, of your vim, vigor, and valor on how you had the guts to expand through the situation. Start giving yourself the pat on the back and the kudos and send the other person down the road. And I did something yesterday. I wrote a keynote called Shed and Shred. You shed the dread to shred the delusional, ridiculous effigies within yourself. And when you say shed and shred, you get a feeling of I got a feeling of discharge.
Yeah, but the thing is that so many people, they get caught up in languaging. It's kind of let go of the past.
Yeah. And
you have to do that. Let go of
develop your own neuro liberating lingo.
Yeah.
And as soon as I started using expand, my life moved forward. Because expand, energize, enterprise, and experience, them words have zero memory and zero subconscious representations. You want to get your lingo has got to be free of subconscious representations. And we've been taught a language to make us be controlled by outside sources.
True. Yeah, when I think back to my journey of being who I was by all the labels that I had put on myself. And I had no idea of who I was outside of those labels.
And that's the thing. I'm just free-flowing energy. And see, if I use free-flowing energy, my thinking, memory, mind is quiet. And that's the thing. Everybody wants their thinking, memory, mind, but it binds them in yesterday. And the thing about it all, though, is you got to give yourself permission to go up.
Yes, as Jason always says, is I help them to get into their authentic voice.
Yeah.
Who they are.
And
not who we think we are, or who they think they should be.
Who they think they should be. Yeah.
And that's the thing. People are so used to being told what to do. That's the thing they have to let go of first. And the second thing is just admit you encompass all this gunk. It's a funky gunk you embedded yourself from your parents. When you can admit it, get rid of it, and give yourself permission to rise and stimulate your innate talents, you move forward.
Right. Wow. And we all have gifts and talents within us, and we just have to access them. So yeah.
That's the wisest thing in the world right there.
Yeah. And
we're all uniquely talented, but the one size fits all school system never let people go to unique.
Yeah.
How do you work with people, Robert?
How do I work with them? We just have a conversation.
Okay.
We have a conversation, then they got to start writing and design. They got to start designing their life they want to experience. And then we go from there. But they got to understand their success right where they're at. They got to start out success, and they got to understand they're unique. We have and I got a bucket list of 111 things they want to do, and they got to fill that out. Then I also got a circle of life with 12 things they want to do, and then there's 10 things they got to do with each one of them. It's about them opening up right away to discover themselves. And a lot of them are going to say, I don't know. And it's, what are you willing to expand into?
Right. What are you willing to find? What are you willing to find out? Because sometimes that can be scary. That can be scary.
And see, there's there's a simple sentence I use. I expand out of this to expand of this. And see, here's the thing. This is where they're at. This is where they're going over here. How will your thinking and knowing get you across there? It's only your imagination, intuition, and your undiscovered talents will move you over here. And it's not about possibilities. It's about scenarios. They got to color and draw their scenarios of their dreams. Because the one thing about a scenario over a possibility, you can put your sense of smell in it.
Yes.
That's your most strongest one. You put your sea breeze as a success in there. What's the sea breeze smell like? That's your success. And it's about awakening stuff they've never awakened to. It's also, it goes, I'm awakened and aware of the dare that life is a trial and dare to dance me. That's all life is a trial and dare. And if you don't get skinned up, you're going to stay the same.
We're either winning or learning.
Right.
Winning or, winning or, you're expanding or shrinking. That's the way. And the thing they got to understand, they made their life situation. And the outside world had nothing to do. And this is something I did on my expansion hour last night. You know, you have the event, the occurrences in your daily stuff. And, you know, people are all involved. But once that's over and the subconscious mind takes the snapshot of the emotions, feelings, words, and images, it's no longer an outside event. It's a subconscious event for you to deal with right yourself. There's nothing in the outside world's innocent. I made it guilty of the way I thought. And it's really comes down to understanding life is innocent. It's going to show you your shortcomings. And if you don't get them, they're going to keep giving them to you. Because that universe and the mystical sources, they're ornery and mischievous. They like to see if I dance or I cry. And they don't care either way.
Right.
And but it's like when I said the shed and shred, I am shredding and I am shedding and shredding all my unwanted weight right now with ease. You want to do everything with ease.
Right. I always call it ease and flow. Just be an ease and flow. And if it feels right.
Yeah.
I mean, but but we do have to deal with the social norms too. So it's like
I got a little saying for the world. If you don't like what I'm doing, you can just F off. It's easy.
It doesn't even have to rhyme. That's great.
It's either FO or F that. And it's something I really want to emphasize. Don't set boundaries.
Right.
Because as soon as you set a boundary, you reinforce your fears. And a fear is not false evidence appearing real. Fear is a subconscious representation that kept you safe at some time. And it's not fear. Why am I apprehensive about this situation?
Right.
Never let it get beyond the question.
Right. Listen, I've been known to sit down and go, okay, what's the underlying feeling of why am I feeling this negative, whatever it is that I'm feeling? What's below? What's underneath this? Yeah. And you do know, and that's where your wisdom comes in.
And also, the worst thing you can do, is tell your story to your family and friends. And don't go looking for sympathy. sit down and go find somebody that's going to give it, make you stand up. And something else I did, I don't tell the story of my past no more. It's a nowography. These are the events, experiences, encounters that awaken me to be here now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people take that story and make it a long one. It's like going down, make it a 10 or 12 word story or event. It's like going down the road, having a flat tire, going 100 mile an hour. You go across the Jersey barrier, almost hit a semi, come back across, almost hit the underpass, but you come to rest on the side of the road. Story, the nowography. I had a flat tire, changed a flat tire on my way. End of everything.
An interesting concept, and but it's a practice.
Yeah,
because it doesn't happen overnight.
And once you get, I don't use the word happy. I use the word peace. I'm at peace with myself right here. And the rest of the world is going to show me the way to expand.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Expand, energize, enterprise. Because I begin, now I won with fun.
Right. Well, Robert, this has been absolutely interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And just because I truly believe that there is something for everyone. And how we express it.
That's absolutely true.
Like for me, it's like, I know that, it says in the Bible that God came, that Jesus came that we might have life and have it in abundance. Well, what's our idea of abundance? It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's how you feel about it. So,
my parents come out of the 30s. That makes it altogether difference.
Whoa. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my favorite question I like asking people. Would we have defeated Hitler if it wouldn't have been for the Depression? Because them boys that come out of that Depression were tough.
Yeah.
They were tough in here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm going to just share this, and then, all the negativity and pessimism going on in the world, what it's really asking for is the wisdom, clarity, insight for people to expand out of history. Because we've been taught the misery of history, never the wisdom of history.
Mm.
Yeah, they always say history repeats itself.
That's because it's subconscious mind.
This is just, yeah. So, Robert, this was amazing.
Oh, you guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and when
this was fun. I
love
you
guys are great hosts. And thank you for allowing me to be here. This has been interesting, fun, but what's really fun is the energy of you guys' wisdom to have the conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all life is a conversation. We just don't know how to do it.
We just don't know. We're not always, we don't always feel comfortable instituting a conversation, but it is just life is a conversation. With you and the divine, with me, I have a conversation every day with God. Okay, what's my life going to be today? Give me some direction. Great. Awesome.
And sometimes he says, you better start paying attention, or I'm going to give you a savvy. See, God gives me savvy smacks to eat a savvy snack.
Right. Exactly. He will direct our paths. And so Robert, this was great. Jason, as always, you're just a fabulous host.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years next
2 years in April. Yeah.
3 years. 3 years.
2 years. 2 years.
2 years. 2 years in April.
Yep. Because 3 years is 2020. So yeah.
So absolutely amazing. Robert, welcome, everybody. Hey, you know what? Have a great week. And you know what? Just listen to yourself. See what yourself is saying.
Yeah. Good message.
Great
message, Barbara.
And I was going to share with you too. I'm getting ready to start a TV show called Pure Liberation. And I'd like to offer you guys to be a guest on it when it all gets up and running.
Let us know.
We either do it individually or together. It's up to you.
Okay.
Or
We
do
can do
all
both.
three.
We can do both.
Yeah. Do we just reach out to you? How do we set that up?
I'll set it up. I'll stay in touch, and this is about what we talked about today.
Okay.
It's about giving people the foresight to light their light of life.
Yes. I like that. Light the light of your life.
I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
cool beans.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to let you go. Thank you guys so much. This has been an honor and privilege for me. It was nice meeting you, Jason, and
Awesome meeting you too,
having
Robert.
the conversation with you and Barbara.
Awesome. Well, hey, everybody, go out and have everyday riches this week, and we'll see you again next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye,
All
everybody.
right. Bye, everybody.